Hey, it's Retro Nerd Girl, and I'm broadcasting from the International Science Fiction Space Station, and I have a brand new movie that I just watched, and it's actually one that I've been seeing in my periphery, and I just decided, hey, let me just take a look at this one. It is called The First Spaceship on Venus, made in 1960. It's also known as The Silent Star. When an alien artifact discovered on Earth is found to have come from Venus, an international team of astronauts embarks to investigate its origins. And when we say international team, this film is also an international production as well, which was an East German, Polish color science fiction film based on the 1951 science fiction novel The Astronauts by Polish science fiction writer Stanislaw Lem, and it was directed by Kurt Maitzig. The film was first released by Progress Film in East Germany. Dubbed cut versions were also released in English under the titles First Spaceship on Venus, Planet of the Dead, and Spaceship Venus Does Not Reply. And yeah, so this was definitely an international production. They did seem to get everybody from a lot of different parts of the world together for this incredible team for this vision of the future, which is actually pretty interesting. And I did love that about what they were trying to do in 1960. All that credit for the story, of course, really goes to Stanislaw Lem for his book. In 1985, which is their future, the filmmakers' future world, there's a discovery of an alien rock. And then it takes about another 77 years forward in time before they're able to identify it properly. And they realize that this is a rock that was sent from Venus, and it was also a message encoded on there, but they can't decipher all of the words. At this point, they are understanding that there's life on Venus, and they are trying to intercept that life on Venus. And I think it's very interesting. They set out to collect this team of scientists and specialists to go on this trip to Venus. And I think that's really kind of cool and exciting. They do their best for 1960. There doesn't seem to be much of a budget. Yeah, we don't have an actual budget for this movie. It doesn't seem to be very well known. But according to IMDb, although it was a co-production with a Polish company, it was still the most expensive production for the DEFA at the time. They just didn't have enough money to pull off what they needed to do for this movie. And I think they did fairly well in Germany. I think the internationally not so well. In the US, it was English dubbed, and the movie that I saw was the first Spaceship on Venus. They did not have very great dubbing abilities at that time because the movements of the characters and the dubbed words did not match very well. It was very poorly done, but I think they did the best they could for the time. Honestly, I'm going to give them some slack for that. I'm going to give them a little slack. It was at the top of a prepackaged double feature with Varan the Unbelievable, which I've never seen. A heavily alerted American version of Japan's Varan, a prehistoric behemoth, is unwittingly awoken from hibernation due to the U.S.-Japanese military experiment for economic means in its watery lair. And so that's an interesting story, sort of like a mini Godzilla, not quite as big. And yeah, that's pretty cool that it had a double booking with those two movies, a science fiction movie and a monster creature feature. Now, what they said of the writing, they said the writing process involved 3 writing teams and 12 screenplays before a final script was acceptable to the studio and the government. So they didn't just have to please the studio, they had to please the governments as well. Very interesting. Very interesting. I never knew that you had to do that kind of thing. In the 1962 U.S. release, they also borrowed music from other material as well. So that is pretty interesting. They're piecing together a lot of this movie based on they got the visuals and everything set up. It's all the sound and all of the dubbing that they had to make available for the American audience. So will they take off on the ship and they go to the planet Venus? The two characters in the center, we are looking at Gunther Simon is the actor, and he plays Robert Brinkman, who is a astronaut in this particular storyline. And then the young lady is the actress Yoko Tani, who plays Dr. Sumiko Okimura, and she is the Japanese medical officer. These two are supposed to have this romance going on between them, and it's kind of funny though because they don't have any chemistry at all. They don't have any, but they do try to create something between them, but unfortunately the chemistry didn't work. And one of the things I believe is the real problem here is that you can tell each of the actors are speaking in a different language than the language that is used in the film, or they just don't know what the heck they're saying. Some of them, I don't think they even are. Not everybody knows what language they're speaking. So it's very interesting to see them play off of each other because they don't really play off of each other. They're doing their own thing. But otherwise, there are some really unique designs going on here. A lot of creative work being done for some of the visuals here that they're trying. I appreciate that about this film. Then we have scenario where one of the characters get to be weightless in the capsule that they're traveling in. This is really cute because this was done in 1960, and if you consider it was probably filmed in 1959, and we wouldn't really get to space for many years to come. We were working on some things, but I think like, okay, we've got an idea of what it might be like to go into space, and I think we all have an idea that this is a make believe version of that. So these guys did not even have the right information, but they were going on what was available to the public at the time about space travel. So I thought that was really cool to see how humanity has grown over the length and time of learning about space travel, how it might be. And I love this ship, this design of this ship, absolutely incredible. I remember seeing a visual of this ship, a still of this ship, and really trying to figure out where's that, what movie is that from? And so I'm really, really happy to have found the ship and to find out that it came from this movie. Excellent design, excellent design. I do believe this is a miniature, on a miniature set, and that is absolutely beautiful to look at. Love things like this. And one of the things to point out is also, and I mentioned before, a lot of people may have been speaking in different languages while they were filming this, and the performances just seemed just a little bit off because and they were doing something completely new, having so many people from different quadrants of the world to act against each other, and I think it was sort of like this interesting hodgepodge of characters from all over the world, and I did love that, but also it held the film a little bit, puts it in a special corner of critique because of the fact that none of the characters are actually having any kind of relation to each other. They're really acting on their own. They're really not having any chemistry with one another. And even you can see their eye lines are completely in different directions. You're not really getting a cohesive from them. It's all exaggerated and strange. So one thing about this planet that they get on concerning the story. I would say that the storyline gets a little confusing because when they get on the planet, they really don't find any Venusians, but they find little recordings that may have some things that Venusians are saying. So there's no way to know. So there is a linguist on board, and he is translating the things that they're saying, or trying to translate. I'm not sure if he's totally successful at the time being, but he is the expert on the field. These guys encounter lots and lots of little changes on the planet, little problems with the planet that they have to fight their way through. Some of it is minor, and then there are some that are really major. So I do love that they set up all of these challenges for the characters to endure on a strange planet. Now, we all know that Venus is too hot for these guys to actually inhabit at all without like melting. But it is a cool concept to think at this time that you could actually travel to Venus and survive. So when they get there, they encounter a very interesting world. Full of surprises. I did like that, and I was thinking, what if this was updated? It would be a lot of fun to watch. It would really would. All of the tech and all of the little traveling pods that they have, it's all very cool. This is all practical, so they had to build all that. And I was pretty much in awe of all of this. Of course, I love when films do this. Obviously, I think they're on a set. If if uh, if I can assume, it looks like they're on a set and they've fogged out the back so nobody could see the walls of this studio. But it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. They also have a little robot, a little comparing him to R2D2. He makes little beeping noises and all sorts of things like that. So he's super super cute and just a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So yeah, lots of interesting moments in the storyline. Again, it was the most expensive for the filmmakers to make this project. However, it was, it has a lot of the hallmarks of a low budget film. And there were many, many scenes of these characters trying to talk to each other, which is really funny. That's probably the funniest part, is all of these actors speaking different languages and trying to this African gentleman, Julius Ongewe, plays the part of Talua, and he is the African communications officer. He is the first African that has ever appeared in space in a feature film. So that is very very cool. They were actually setting new ground. They were breaking new ground in 1960. This is wonderful, and so what a fun idea to have all of these people from all over the world come together and do this particular mission to try to save Earth, or maybe even just to explore other worlds. And it was really really exciting that they were doing this kind of thing. And so yes, I mean, it's a big set. This is a big set. Look at it. But it is also, they tried to put like storms in it, and I'm sure they had the big fans going, blowing everything around, and they tried to set up a sense of tension and just all of these exciting moments. I don't think they were successful at every single thing, but they did try as hard as they could. They had to build all this stuff from hand, and so then much kudos to them. But they did do a lot of stuff with force perspective. That was really cool. I really enjoyed all of that stuff. You have these miniatures in the back, but you have these people in the front. They probably did that all in camera, and it looks really good. I liked it. More miniatures, which are really cool designs. You know how much I love miniatures. They were trying to think outside the box. What would an alien world look like? And I think they did a decent job for uh, the time in which they were doing it. But I mean, I do have a special love in my heart for these kinds of films. They tried their very best to make a science fiction movie, and I respect that 100%. Hard, one of the hardest things to do in the 1960s. They tried to do the best that they could with those visuals. They're not horrible. They really aren't. So again, I love that. I love that ship. I love that ship. There's one part where there's some ooze that is following three of the astronauts or the specialists here, and this is they have it colored gold here, but it's actually black. One of In order to save their lives, one of the people shoots at this mass, and it then goes away suddenly. But then it sets off this chain reaction that is basically going to break apart the planet. The Earthlings discover that, hey, they are now the cause of the destruction of Venus, and so they have to leave and go back home, and let them know that, hey, there was a warning that Venus was planning on attacking Earth. They're not sure what exactly happened there, but Venus is now deserted and may have befallen the fate that they chose for Earthlings, and probably ended up being their own fate that was taken out by atomic radiation. And so, yeah, we like again, I said we have these incredible visuals that are pretty fantastic. The imagination and the creativity is there, and you can see it. So yes, guys, that is it. I did like this film quite a bit. I do love the gusto of them trying to make a science fiction film, and although you can see it where they spent a lot of the money in building sets and building things, but the story was a little lacking. The acting was a little strange because of all of the different people on set that didn't really seem like they were acting with each other. They were just reading off lines and just doing motions that seemed like they were part of the action or part of the story, but it just felt very detached. Their connections and things like that. I look at movies like that and I say, the things that we're watching today, are the stories that we love, the science fiction stories we love. They have something very special, and this makes me appreciate some of the ones that I've seen and enjoyed a lot more. Because they finally got the formula right, like a Star Wars, like the first Star Wars. I think a lot of people don't realize what kind of a unicorn that was. That was a complete unicorn. When I think about movies like Logan's Run, how amazing that movie, the story worked so well in that, and it really compelled you. It was about characters, and the actors could relate to each other. And I think that's what was missing. That warmth of character was definitely missing in the story. So, yes, if you're a filmmaker or upcoming filmmaker, this is an excellent movie to see what they got right and what they missed. What's so important about a story really is us relating to the characters, and they tried, but it didn't quite work. So it breaks my heart just a little. Breaks my heart just a little. But that ship was amazing. I love that ship so much. So, well, guys, I hope that you enjoyed my assessment of this movie that I just saw. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this before. Do leave comments on there. Let me know what you think of it. I don't know if you saw the riff tracks of it, where they completely and totally decimated this movie. Let me know that too. Or if you have never seen it and you want to see it, add that too. But I will warn you ahead of time. It's not exactly the best movie ever, but at the same time, it is definitely a lot of fun. Well, guys, without further ado, I bid you adieu, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.